Hello again, fellow podcaster, and welcome back to Pod Theory. I am your host, Jason Cercone, and today I'm going to share 5 actions you should take immediately after your new episode goes live. Once you post a new episode, it's time to start spreading the word. The goal is to get as many subscribers and as many listeners as possible. Now, when someone is subscribed to your show, they'll receive a notification from their podcast app anytime you post a new episode. But even if you have thousands of subscribers, you want to shout it from the mountaintops so everyone knows that you've got something new for them to consume. And if you don't have a mountaintop to stand on, here are 5 actions that you can take to generate some buzz and excitement around your latest release. Number 1, create a short soundbite and share your episode on all of your social media networks. Now, there are many platforms out there that offer the ability to make a soundbite right from their network. I use Buzzsprout, and that's where I make all of my short sound clips. But you can create this soundbite and make it shareable on all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, as well as the stories on all of those networks. Whatever networks you have, share it. There's never a bad place to talk about your podcast because your latest release may be the one that grabs a listener and gets them sucked into your show for the first time. You can also use a video editor or your normal podcast editor to create a soundbite, but it's best to create something that stands out on social media and has a nice visual component to it. Number 2, send an email to your list. Now, if you've built an email list over time, be sure to leverage the power of that list by sending a blast to announce your new show going live. Now, you can use this blast to break down the content of your show, as well as include anything that will accompany your release, such as a live video, which we'll talk about here in a minute. This gives your subscribers a reason to check out the show. If they've opted into your email list, they clearly care about what you have to say. Therefore, they're going to care about your new podcast release. Send a blast and get them pointed to it immediately. Number 3, join conversations in your podcast communities. These are happening every day, and instead of being a megaphone that's promoting your show in an outbound fashion, get in the conversations and add some value. This is something you should always be doing because being part of the community and being active is much better than just promoting your links and telling people that you have a new show. When the time is right, you can mention in those conversations that you covered whatever issue people are talking about on your most recent podcast or on a podcast that you did in the past. The bottom line is, people will appreciate you for providing value to your community versus just dropping a link to your podcast and hoping people click on it and find your show. Number 4, create a paid ad. As we continue to move forward, organic reach on Instagram and Facebook continue to dwindle. More and more, these are pay-to-play platforms. It's just the reality of the world we live in. Now, don't get mad. It was only a matter of time. In that spirit, creating an ad that points people towards your episode will be a tremendous boost for your show. This is when having your podcast on your blog or website is very helpful. With your episode on your website, be sure to include links to various podcast apps like Apple, Amazon, Spotify, etc., so people can connect to your episode quickly. Not only are you exposing them to your website, but you're giving them all the information they need, and they can click on the link that they need to click on in order to get to the app of their choosing. And number 5, go live. Now, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, go live to talk about your episode. Now, I save this for last because you won't want to do this immediately because you want to give your audience time to listen to your show. If your new episode goes live on Monday, for example, set up a live video for Wednesday. Plug your live video on your podcast and invite your listeners to join in. You can do a recap, you can discuss highlights, you can get your audience involved as they drop comments, you can speak directly to those points, you can expand on things discussed in the show, you can even bring back the guests that you had on the show to join you on the live feed. The point is to have fun, give your audience a chance to ask questions and learn more about your show, and the overall execution of doing a live video consistently is going to add an additional layer to your podcast. Now, you can also choose to do a live option sparingly to keep it more special, such as a once-a-month recap or a bi-weekly Q&A. It's totally up to you, but you definitely want to harness the power of live video with your audience. And that's going to do it for today's session of Pod Theory. If this episode taught you something, please share it, rate it, and review it so more people can find it. You know you liked what you've heard. Now tell the world. Good talk. I'll see you back here tomorrow. This has been Jason Cercone on Pod Theory.